All right, what's up, everybody? So I thought I'd just share with you today the latest news from Perplexity. They've launched Perplexity Labs, and essentially what this does is it allows you to create applications and interactive pages straight from within Perplexity, similar to what you see with Claude already, and even some builder tools like Lovable, Bolt.new, etc. And so I first saw this actually on Twitter, the news about it, and I saw some people playing around with Perplexity's ability to generate apps and applications. So it's really, I think, interesting to see how Perplexity is keeping themselves in the game. Because if you're not familiar, Perplexity really burst onto the scene when they were showing how their search was better than some of the other competitors. And you can see about 2 months ago, they're targeting an $18 billion valuation. Now, in this AI space, the competition is strong. So when you think somebody's out of the game, a week later, you can find that they're back in again. And I think this may continue to be the case till around mid to late next year, because eventually human beings, we tend to want to find something and then settle on it so that we can actually work with it, right? Because with AI, there's just so many tools that keep popping up. People can't keep up. And that's okay. Because I think at the beginning, any sort of frontier, this is kind of what happens. People battle it out, try to secure their spots, their spaces, and then the settlers come in, right? So you got the explorers who are on the frontiers, and then you got the settlers who come in later, and that's where everything else gets established. Traditions, rituals, routines, etc., and that makes things more manageable for the humans, right? So back to Perplexity. So now you can see here, I'm going to put this to full screen. This is an example of what can be generated inside Perplexity now. You can see this is a whole interactive dashboard, including assets that can be generated, which is very different to, I think, the other competitors, right? Bolt.new, Lovable.dev. Those ones are focused specifically on the build, but they don't always show you all the assets that can be generated in this way. So they have the assets there, but in a traditional file folder structure. But Perplexity is doing it differently. And it's good to see the creativity coming out from Perplexity. And as you can see, this is what it looks like when you start using Perplexity Pro. So you can see all the assets are separated out. This is actually quite good for people who like to keep things organized. I think what would be a great feature is actually if they had something that could allow you to link, say, with Notion. So you can just put all this stuff into a Notion or Google Drive. They might actually already have this, especially for Google. But, this is just a preview since this has come out as of, I think, yesterday. So, I was all on Perplexity when it first came out, but then, of course, many of the other tools and platforms started to do what Perplexity was doing, and so I left it. But when I saw news about what Perplexity had released yesterday, I thought, hey, why not? Let's just check it out again. Now, the thing with all this is that because the tools are constantly getting better, the models are getting better, your knowledge, again, might be all over the place. So I think there are tools that are coming out that actually are helping people with persistent memory across the board. And I think this is going to become important. So Mem0 is an example of one of these tools. And the idea here is that it will allow you to carry your memory, your files, etc., over multiple places. But Google could probably just do that, since a lot of stuff is already held by Google from a data perspective. So that was a little bit of a preview of Perplexity. A really interesting feature is that if you have LinkedIn Premium, you can get a free year of Perplexity Pro. I'll put some links to that in the video comment section below. And if you haven't had a chance, do sign up for Perplexity. Again, I'll share some links so that you can try it out. And this is what it looks like on the inside. To be honest, I really do like their UI. The interface is really clean. And not only that, they make kind of looking for user stuff a lot simpler. So say, for example, in ChatGPT, you might actually have something like this, right? And you might still need to have to look up stuff. Whereas you can see here, Perplexity just kind of has it right there, subtly, So it kind of brings the browser experience that you find in Chrome, but straight inside Perplexity. And it's kind of trained up on what you're searching through as well. And I find that Perplexity's news are a lot more interesting to me than some of the other options. You got Spaces here, which I also think is a bit better than the way that ChatGPT, Claude, etc. Have things set up. You can download it to your desktop, and let me know what you think. If you find that the new feature for Perplexity Pro and AI Labs is good, feel free to share in the comments below. And until next time, speak soon.